Hey, everybody. It is Jonathan Kirsting. It is a Friday. It is the Tech 5 Radio one mic stand. And I'm just excited, as always, to have these conversations. But this is someone, I don't know, Pittsburgh's just full of cool people. And Cetin Mericli is one of them. He's with Locomation, which I think this company just blows my mind. The technology that you guys use, that you developed to have tractor trailers convoy each other like autonomously, is just mind-blowing. And I couldn't wait to bring our listeners and our viewers this story, because this just goes to show you that Pittsburgh is home to companies like yours, Cetin. And I'm so glad you're here to talk to us today about it. So thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it.
I'm so happy to be here, Jonathan. It's great to be on the show, as always.
Yeah, we had you on Tech Vibe a few months ago, and as we were now moving things more virtual here and doing some stuff and telling more stories, I'm like, man, we got to get you back on just to tell the story once again. And I know so much has changed with Locomation as well, too, since the last time we talked. You guys are growing, you're moving, and you're shaking, for lack of a better term. And so first off, let's just give our listeners, our viewers here, just a little overview of what Locomation is all about and how it kind of works.
Locomotion is a startup developing safe and reliable autonomous driving solutions for tractor trailers. And our very first application of such technology is what we call autonomous relay convoying, where we bundle two trucks together. There is a human driver in the front truck actively driving and acting as a cognitive filter for the system. And the second truck drives itself, follows the leader very, very closely. So this pack travels together, improving the safety, improving the efficiency, and improving speed and productivity of the entire system.
And where was this technology developed? I know you were the man behind it, I think, at Carnegie Mellon, if I'm not mistaken. So give us a little story about that.
I mean, first of all, it's of course nowhere near being a one-man show. So there is a great team behind this story, and I'm just I'm just fortunate enough to be here and be allowed to tell the story on behalf of the team. Myself, the founding team, a significant part of our technical team, we spend a lot of time at Carnegie Mellon's Robotics Institute. We are hardcore Pittsburghers. We draw a lot of pride from that.
I sleep better at night knowing that you guys are out there with the robotics department, because so many cool companies, the technology, I mean, it's world renowned. I mean, come on, I don't think there's anything better than what's going on robotics wise.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying. So.
Absolutely. So we are just very, very happy to be a part of the alumni of that family.
Definitely.
And we spent literally decades working on different flavors of autonomous systems, autonomous vehicles, different applications, sometimes for defense, sometimes for some commercial applications, agriculture, mining, on-road applications, etc. Long story short, we accumulated some know-how and some understanding on how difficult this problem is, at the same time, what is possible if you can package the technology in the right way and apply to the right problem. So that's how we decided to start Locomation about 2.5 years ago. We basically decided to focus on convoying, decided to focus on trucking, put our story and narrative together, raised some capital from venture capital funds, and the rest is basically history. Fast forward
this history, right?
Fast forward to today. We've been really operational, because we started fundraising for Locomation. We got some money, and we actually took our time transitioning out of Carnegie Mellon, because we really did not want to drop our responsibilities. We wanted to make sure that we are soft landing all the projects that we were involved in. So it took us some time to transition out, but once we transitioned out, we basically hit the nail with a sledgehammer. We started diving really deep with Locomation. It's been a little bit less than a year and a half that Locomation is actively operating as a full-blown company, and in that short time period of operations, we've actually achieved a lot. Not to toot my own horn or not to brag
you can
too much.
Toot a little bit. Come on, you're allowed. 'Cause you guys have done some pretty cool stuff here.
Thank you. Now that you allowed me, maybe I'll toot our own horn a little bit.
I want some bragging here, Cetin. I want some bragging.
Just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. So we basically the past year and some was mostly our 0 to 1 phase.
Right.
We built the core team, which we've been very fortunate to do so. We built the core technology, and today we actually, as you can see in my background there, we actually have operational trucks. They roam around, and they can sometimes at least drive themselves. So we've been testing them very heavily in closed test tracks
Right.
under close monitoring.
You doing
And
that in Pittsburgh here?
uh, partly yes. So
Okay.
we have some test facilities that we have access to around Pittsburgh.
Okay.
We also go to Ohio. There is a
Ah,
transportation research center right next to the
gotcha.
Honda plant.
Right.
It's a very well established test center.
Right.
We go there to do high speed tests because they
Ooh,
have a
okay.
really big, really large test track. We can actually get our trucks to go up to 70 miles an hour,
Wow.
and do our tests there. So we've been spending quite a bit of time there, of course, ironing out little bits of details here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, we now have functional prototypes that we feel confident enough that we are ready to start doing some tests on the public highways. We recently
Oh
got
my
our
goodness.
authorization to do so, to do our platooning, our convoying tests, as well
Right.
as autonomy tests independently from Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. We very recently announced our very first commercial engagement with Wilson Logistics. It's a in my terms, it's a large fleet. In the trucking terms, they are a medium-sized fleet, about 1,100 trucks or so.
Wow. Okay, cool.
And right before COVID happened, we were getting ready to actually start
Yeah.
doing a pilot with them, start hauling real cargo,
Yeah. Oh my
integrate our
goodness.
technology into their systems, and essentially keep validating, keep verifying the system. So a lot of 0 to 1 happened from the organizational point of view. We came to
Right.
be a real company with a real team, everything. We did not have any functional trucks. Now we do have the technology that's operational. That's another 0 to 1. And from the business point of view, we really spent the past year and some in understanding the trucking industry, the freight industry. What are the actual pain points there, and
Right.
how technology can actually help? So
Well,
instead
it
of
seems like,
building something
yeah.
and looking for ways to looking for problems to our solution, we really spent enough time understanding the
Right.
problems so that we can make sure that we are building the right solution for that.
Exactly. Well, I mean, the trucking industry for this just seems like such an awesome fit because everything I hear of, there's a lack of truckers out there. Safety is a top concern. The demand for trucking and hauling stuff is just through the roof. And I'm assuming obviously through this whole COVID thing's only become greater because we're trying to get supplies all across the country and the world. And so being able to get 2 trucks running at the same time with just really one driver in operation at any one given point in time just seems so much more efficient. So I'm sure you're catching the attention of the industry, but at the same time, they're probably a little freaked out. Like, oh my God, like this truck's just going to follow the other truck and not veer off course.
Right. Of course. I mean, that's still an incredibly challenging problem, and
You're going
it's
to
a
show them how
place
it works, and they're going to be like, boom, mind blown, we're doing
well, you will be surprised how quickly people get very comfortable around our technology.
Yeah,
Because
that's
when it
awesome.
works, it works. We actually have quite compelling performance metrics that shows when the technology is validated enough, when it safely operates, it actually is able to operate the vehicles much better than we can. So there is
I
great
believe
benefits in
it.
delegating the right parts of the
Right.
driving to the machine, but still uh, human drivers, they have so much wisdom, they have so much experience, and
Right.
they actually play a very important role. So
Of course.
what we are doing is we are not looking to replace the human drivers, we are just
Right.
looking to augment them the
Exactly.
right way so that everything is safer and more comfortable and more productive for everybody involved. So
Right.
it's a win-win-win situation for all the stakeholders.
Definitely. So I'm just curious. So I'm not sure like how close that the tractor trailers follow each other, but I'm assuming if they follow pretty close, there's probably a fuel savings because there's some drafting going on, right?
Absolutely. So yes, when 2 trucks follow each other closely, and how closely is it depends on a multitude of factors.
Of
How
course.
fast you are going is one element. What kind of road you are on is another element. What is the weather is another element, etc. But they can be as close as maybe 7, 8, 10 meters from each other at highway
Mhm.
speeds. Of course,
Gotcha.
that's the ultimate goal. And
Okay.
that's another progression. So what we are doing today is still fairly wide gaps as we are testing the system. Over
Right.
time, we will be tightening the gap. But even with slightly wider gaps, you actually see up to 8% fuel
See?
savings per truck. So the
That's
front truck saves maybe 5%-ish, and the rear truck saves around 10-12%. So when
exactly
you average it, there is quite a bit
8%.
of fuel
Yeah.
savings going on.
See,
And
that's so cool. And
this,
to me, it just blows my mind that these are gigantic 18 wheelers, and the one that's driving
man,
itself following the other truck.
they are very large and intimidating. So I woke up to these guys and stand next to them every day, and they are big. They are big. So important. One of the important things is that these trucks actually make so many miles a year.
Mm-hmm.
So even today, even when they are operating rather inefficiently,
Yeah.
they make around 110,000-120,000 miles a year.
Right. Right.
And with our system, we actually anticipate that the trucks will make close to 200,000 miles a year.
200,000. Wow. I mean, this has to seriously be perking the industry eyes up when they're seeing these types of numbers. Because for
Right,
them, I mean, these margins for them are just fantastic then.
right, right. And this is a very, very expensive capital investment. So of
Oh, yeah.
course, the industry players are looking to get the most out of their very expensive investment. Another interesting byproduct of our approach that comes with fuel savings is that a truck operating with our technology, a system operating with our technology, will save around 50 tons of CO2 emission per year.
Right. Because you're saving fuel
And
and everything like that. More
right,
efficiency, less
right.
pollution, obviously.
And at those number of miles that you are making, the number of trucks that's roaming around continuously, that
Right.
adds up very, very quickly. And that actually the bottom line is quite compelling, I have to say.
That is such a cool story all the way around. So, I mean, obviously, right now, I just feel like I know the COVID stuff's kind of holding you back from getting these first engagements going, but that's going to loosen up sometime soon, hopefully, and you're really going to get moving again, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are basically itching, revving in place, and waiting to get back with our pilots, with our technology tests. In the meantime, we are still not completely idle. We are actually being very, very productive
Excellent.
in a very interesting and creative ways. So we are, of course, we are working from home. We are not coming into the office, but being able to live in this digital world, we are connected
Yes.
all day, and people are exchanging information. We are planning. We are seeing what can we do that uh, we couldn't prioritize because there were some other urgent things that we had
Okay.
to do, but
Right.
you always wanted to do. So now that's a very
Now's
good
the
time
time to
to
do it, right?
actually
Okay. Yeah,
exactly do that
totally.
proverbial spring cleaning and future proofing, if you will. So we are being quite productive, actually. Of course, it's impossible to be 100% productive, but we are almost taking advantage of this lockdown to a great
See,
extent.
that's because you're a Pittsburgher, dude. That's what I like.
That's precisely because we are Pittsburghers.
All the way
That's what
around.
we do. That's
No,
what
you
we
guys
do.
are making us so proud. We absolutely love it. I mean, these are the types of stories I think are just absolutely amazing. I mean, this is literally industry shaking technology being built here in Pittsburgh. And, COVID be damned, you're still moving it forward, which I think is just awesome. Just awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The rest of this year is going to be super interesting because now we are looking. So I've been talking about 0 to 1 parts.
Right.
That we are still working on parts of it, but we are ready to go from 1 to many parts. So
Okay.
what we will be seeing, hopefully, again, once we get through the COVID business, what we will see in the rest of the year is a scale up in our operations, scale up in our testing,
Right.
probably growth in the team,
I believe it.
so that we can actually now we have this plan. We executed the first parts of it. We know what needs to be done. We have the
Right.
core team in place. So it's all about complementing it and scaling it up in an efficient manner. So
Right.
I'm very, very excited about the rest of this year, and of
Good.
course the year after that, and then the year after that. But this immediate future is it's packed with excitement and a lot of anticipation.
Well, I tell you, you guys have made some amazing progress since the last time I talked to you on Tech Vibe Radio. And I'm just so glad I got to talk to you, Cetin, because like I said, this is just making me smile because I've seen what you guys have been doing, and to see to the point you're at now is just mesmerizing to me. I love it.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. It's always very refreshing to hear affirming confirmation from you.
Absolutely. If people want to learn more about Locomation, go to Locomation.ai.
Locomotion.ai, we are on. I just realized the other day that we also have an Instagram account, so
You do?
follow us
Oh, well,
there too.
fantastic.
I don't use Instagram, but
Me
apparently
either.
we do.
But lots of
So
people do, I hear.
yeah, you can find us on LinkedIn, find us on Twitter, find us on Instagram. Of course, Locomation.ai is something.
Yep.
One last remark is
Yes.
we are also now we are not allowed to do most of our tests, but we also don't want our trucks to sit idle. So
Okay.
we are trying to help
Ah.
as much as we can with whatever needs to be distributed, food,
Oh, that's so cool,
etc.
man. Yep.
And that's one way that the team in general feels very, very strongly about. So we will see this through together. I think that's my
Absolutely, man.
parting remarks.
Absolutely. You're the best, man. So cool. So
Thank
cool.
you
I
so
love
much.
it. For everyone out there, I can't encourage you to follow these guys on Instagram. Check them out because your mind will be blown when you watch their technology in action. I just see the background of this big old Locomation 18-wheeler behind you there cheating. I'm like, man, that's all business. So cool. Thanks again for hanging out with us, Cheating. You're the best.
Thank you so, so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.